Vietnam has the following legend. Oko, who came from the heaven, and Lac Long Quan, the dragon who came from the sea, married and bore something huge with 100 eggs. The dragon, out of the 500 children born from there, took 50 of them and lived in the sea, and Oko took the remaining 50 and moved on to live in the mountains. The oldest son became the king and started the Hung Vung dynasty. From 7th to 6th century BC, along the Hon River and Magawa River, located in the present-day North Vietnam, 15 communities were there together and acted together to build the country. Hong Vung is said to be the founder of the first Vietnamese kingdom. So far was the legend, but in fact, in the remains of in the Hung temple and in the remains cultivated in other architectural remains, it was confirmed that Hung Vong established the country of Van Lang more than 4,000 years ago. This is the first state of Vietnam. It was the first state built in the Southeast Asia. Van Lang dynasty continued for 18 generations. In all of them, the throne was passed on from father to child under the name of Hung Vong. Since the Van Lang era in Vietnam, the unique rice cultivating culture prospered. In order to reminisce about this, every year in the spring in the Hung Shrine, big festivals are held. Hai Ba Truong's rebellion movement is the history of never give up in Vietnam in the early days. When the enemy comes, even women fight. This is represented here, which is the spirit of the Vietnamese women. In 179 BC, the Olak state was conquered by the Han dynasty of China. Therefore, in order to recover our country, 2 women rose up. Hai Ba Trung means 2 women under the name of Trung. These 2 women were courageous, wonderful women. Hai Ba Trung started the rebellion movement. This rebellion movement ended victorious, and the independence of the country was regained. In 938, the Han dynasty, using the routes from the sea, aggressed into Vietnam. Ngo Quan led the soldiers and put together the following plan. On the riverbed of Bac Dang River, which is in the present-day North Vietnam, he, as a trap, planted piles that are pointed. When the tide was full, the ships were lured in to where the traps were located, and at low tide the ships were stranded, and by making holes in the ships' hulls, the soldiers quickly and thoroughly fought. The enemy had to give up their aggression. The following year, Ngo Quan became the king and started the capital in Co Loa. This victory after having been conquered for about 1,000 years by a country located in the north of Vietnam, since then, with this event, the full day of independence or full era of independence of Vietnam started. Now I would like to ask you two questions here. Do you know the answer to these two questions? Question 1. Where is the capital of Vietnam? A. Bangkok. B. Hanoi. C. Ho Chi Minh City. Where is the capital of Vietnam? Do you know where is the capital? Yes, please. The capital of Vietnam is? Thank you very much. You are correct. The capital is Hanoi. Thank you very much. Not Bangkok, not Ho Chi Minh City. Next question. Why was Hanoi selected as the capital? A. Because of the livability. B. Because a lot of food can be harvested and captured. C. Wonderful scenery. Which is the answer? Which do you think is the answer? Yes, please. All. Yes, you are right. All the options are correct. All of these are correct. Thank you very much. Now, Hanoi was selected to become the capital. What was the circumstances that Hanoi was selected as the capital? According to a book of history, in July, autumn of 10,010, the king moved the capital to Dai La Castle. The king and his officials' ship arrived in the port of Da Lai Castle and saw a golden dragon spring and fly up. The king thought this was a good sign and called Dai La Tan Lan, which means the dragon rising, according to the book. On this occasion, the king issued the edict of moving the capital. Part of it is written as the following. Dai La Castle is located in the middle of the earth and the heaven, and is in the shape of either a dragon or a tiger rounded up sitting, and around is surrounded by mountains and river, and people and lives are living vividly and are prospering. Looking at the whole of Vietnam, this place is very fortunate and is a very advantageous location. This place is the most appropriate location to be the perpetual capital of the country. Since this edict of the movement of capital was written, 1,000 years have passed. Life surrounding the capital may have changed, but in this edict of moving the capital, which consists of only 214 kanji capitals, the greatness of this edict is unchanging. That is, that can also be known since Tan Long has continued to be the capital of many dynasties, and today this land is the capital of Vietnam Socialist Republic. This is Hanoi, and this is a city, capital of conscience, intelligence, and peace. This is the capital where the Vietnamese people live. And here I would like to recite a very famous historical poem. The mountains and rivers of the southern country belong to the domain of the king of the southern country. This is written inside the heavenly documents. Why do the enemy forces unilaterally invade into our country? They will for sure be chased out. This poem was written in 1077 by Lee Tunket when the country experienced an invasion. When the enemy was camping at night, Lee Tunket instructed the soldiers to go into the temple at the south of the river and instructed the soldiers to pretend to be the god and read this song very out loud. And this is an imperishable poem, and this has the value of the first declaration of independence. With this poem, the morale of our soldiers rose up. Ultimately, the enemy tongues fled away. The Lee dynasty worked on the building of the nation, and we entered into the time of prosperity. At this time, Vietnam had the fortune of the talented hero, military leader, politician, and a talented diplomat. He was the Lee Tunket. We, the Vietnamese people, do not forget him. Talking about heroes, who do you think about? In Vietnam, there are many heroes. But here, I would like to introduce to you two people who led the Lam Son Rebellion movement. The first person is Le Loi. Le Loi fought with the Ming dynasty, the neighboring country that invaded into Dai Viet, and won. Le Loi has the following legend. A friend picked up a lump of iron. To Le Loi, it appeared to seem glittering and shining. He received the iron from his friend and polished, and he saw two Chinese characters on it and thought this was a divine will. And using this iron, he made a sword, and with the sword, he achieved victory. Later, when he was on a boat in Ta Long Lake in Thang Long, one turtle approached him and asked him to return the god's sword. When Le Loi returned the sword, the turtle took the sword and dived deep into the lake. Since then, Lake Tavon is called Hoan Kiem Lake, which means to return the sword. The second person is Nguyen Chuai. Nguyen Chuai, when the battle was over, represented Le Loi and put together Bing Nyo Dai Cao. This declaration is said to be the second Declaration of Independence. This Bing Go Dai Cao consists of thoughts about humanity and justice and the thought of solidarity. Nguyen Chuai, who wrote Bing Nyo Dai Cao, is a hero, and he is an eminent figure born on the 15th century. And this Quoc-Tu-Gram is the biggest institute of education. This is the first university in Southeast Asia and an old school in Vietnam. This school was established in August 1070. In 1484, monuments were erected about those who won the doctorate since 1442. Today, there are 82 monuments of doctors still remaining.